What is up, guys? DoorDash here, and I'm coming to you with a video today. I wanted to just kind of talk with you for a little bit here. I want to give you a couple of tips. If you're a new dasher out here, I want to give you a few tips. If you're getting set up, if you're out here, I know there's a lot of you. There's going to be a lot of dashers starting that are coming into the summer. They're on summer break. Maybe it's you need an extra few dollars. I want to just give the everyday dasher some everyday tips on how you can make the most out of DoorDashing, and you can apply these to the other apps as well. So guys, if that interests you, stick with me for the video. I'm going to give you some tips. I have well over 3,000 DoorDashes in. I've got over 5,000 total deliveries between all of the apps that I've been working, and I've been doing this for a little over 2 years. So I've got something to add here, and a few things maybe that you can learn from my experiences. So let's get into the videos. All right, guys. So tip number one, the first tip that I'm going to give you is understand you do not have to accept every order. You are not going to get deactivated if you don't accept every order. Now that might seem like common sense, but to the new ones coming in right now, you're going to hear a lot of stuff that's going to be confusing. Now, there is a debate over whether or not there is a benefit to accepting more orders or to keeping an acceptance rate higher or lower. My advice is if you are a new dasher, you should go out and you need to start accepting orders before you know what you can decline. You want to just look at the order size is really what you want to pay attention to. Miles to money is something that you want to take into account, but you want to look at that more of an analytical thing at the end of the day to see what kind of job you've done and how well things have turned out. Because as you're going to learn, the miles to money can be very, very deceptive. In other words, DoorDash will selectively choose to show you orders at times when they can show you the best order. But if you're not taking into account the miles you've traveled, so say you're at a drop-off and you travel 3 miles to get back to an area that you're going to get orders from, and then they show you a 6 for 3, you've got to take into account that that's really a 6 for 6. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't take that order. That's up to you. But I'm saying you need to make sure you're always remembering what you've traveled from the previous delivery to where you're at, and keep track of it. See how you're doing. It's a metric you should keep track of, so that you can kind of understand your market a little better and keep an eye on it. It's a way that you can end up driving more miles than you really think you're driving, and you can be thinking you're doing better than what you're doing and find out the hard way that you're driving a lot of miles. So keep that in mind. But you do not have to accept every order. Don't be afraid to turn down orders. But also, if you're starting out, don't be afraid to accept orders either. That brings me to number two. Number two, keep track of your data, whether you're part-time, full-time, a 2-hour dasher a week. Keep track of your data. Have some sort of data collection method. Get an app that tracks your miles. You definitely should have that. I use Hurdler. There's Solo, which will, the auto tracking on Solo, which is why I don't use it, is not very good, at least on the phones that I have. And I have quite a few phones that I've used it on and tried it on. So you would need to manually track, and that's not really hard. You go out, you start your dash or you start your delivery time, turn it on. You end your delivery time, turn it off. But if you use Solo can be really, really good because it will track your income and it will track your miles, and you can have a full picture. And especially if you're more doing this part-time, it does a lot of the groundwork and the heavy lifting for you and gives you enough of a picture of what you need to see without having to dive into it. Now, if you're someone who's trying to start this to get deeper into it, then consider spreadsheeting out some things. The best way to do that, especially when you're beginning, don't try to take on too much. Don't make it too confusing, but take screenshots. Screenshot, and what I would recommend is, I would recommend 4 core screenshot opportunities. Screenshot your offer. Screenshot when you arrive at the restaurant. Screenshot when you leave the restaurant. And screenshot when you drop off the final delivery screen. And some people say, well, I'll use the final one. Do those 4 screenshots on every single order. Get accustomed to doing them. Then take a little time when you get home and apply them to a spreadsheet where you can document the time the order began, the time you arrived at the restaurant, the time you left the restaurant, and the time the order ended. And then, of course, you're going to have a mileage tracking app going on as well. The other thing you can do is take a picture of your odometer too, if you want to add it in there. So when you get the order, or when you get to the restaurant, it doesn't really matter how you do it because you're tracking. You can do whatever is easy. But what I would do is the first order that you take when you get to the restaurant, take a picture of your odometer. Take a picture of your odometer when you get to your drop-off. Take a picture when you get to the next restaurant. Boom. And do it that. It's that simple. That way you can keep track and see the miles you're traveling for each order. And then you can really get a picture of what it really looks like, because you're going to have a screenshot of the offer. You're going to have screenshots of, you're going to have fit pictures of the actual starting miles and the finishing miles of each order that you're on. And you're going to be able to really get a picture for how well you're doing versus, what you're being offered versus what you're actually driving. And it can be quite different. Now, you can also obviously get a picture by having a mileage tracking app as well, which I recommend. If you get into the habit of doing that, as you get more accustomed to dashing, learning apps and things become more accustomed, go ahead and start actively tracking those things as you're dashing. And I recommend everyone do this, whether you're a 2-hour-a-week dasher or not. You're still going to have to pay taxes. You're still going to need to know where you stand. You're still going to need to understand the numbers. You still got to have all these things, and you're going to want to have as much data to back it up if you find yourself in an audit or whatever. If you don't have that stuff organized, it's going to be much tougher to back up the numbers that you're filing your taxes with and everything else. Now, that is tip number 2. Tip number 3, buy yourself some good delivery bags. Grubhub, in my opinion, has the best delivery bags. Now, if you're not a driver for Grubhub, you may not get access to them. Go online. What I recommend you do, buy a pizza bag, buy a catering bag that is dividable, meaning it'll have a divider in it, and that will allow you to use that bag. You can use it for small bags, big bags, and make sure it has built-in cup holders inside the catering bag, because you can literally turn that into your everyday bag by having maybe a bag of food on one side, utilizing the cup holders on the other side. They've got some really nice bags on Amazon. And then get a cup trolley. Now, Grubhub has a really, really spectacular one. I've not found anything like it on Amazon, but it's a square bag that fits perfectly. It allows you to put the cups as they are in a like a little cup holder. It can fit down in there, and it'll hold those. Or if you want to make sure it's extra safe, you can put the cup holder itself down in there and take the drinks out, and it's 4-cornered. And that way, when you get to the customer's house, you can pull that out, put it down, boom, boom, boom. Customers have been extremely, extremely impressed with this when they see it. They're really thankful. The other thing you can do is if you have a singular drink and a bag of food, it fits in there really nice. So if you can anybody should be able to go onto the Grubhub store and order, I believe. I'm not certain, but if you get a chance to order something like that, grab it. But get good bags. Have something to carry your drinks in, and then get a regular everyday small bag. So you should have a smaller bag, a catering bag, and a pizza bag. Those are the 3 things you should get to start out in some sort of drink carrier. That's what you need to get basically started. That way you're ready to go. And the catering bag is there so you can take a picture of it. As you know, there's going to be opportunities to get catering orders in DoorDash. There's opportunities in all the other ones, and you're ready to go if one comes, or you get an order that's got a lot of food in it. And then as you go, make sure you continue to invest in those bags. That brings us back to number 2. When you make those purchases, use the apps like Herb or Solo. Whatever app you're using to track your mileage will also allow you to track your expenses. So make sure you take a picture of the receipt, or if you order it online, take a screenshot of it, attach it in there, and put that in. And those apps will take care of telling you what you owe on a quarterly basis for taxes, so that you're ready to go and pay your taxes and stay current on your taxes as you're going. But that is going to help you with your customer ratings. I believe I struggled. I had some struggles with my customer ratings, and I believe it was firmly due to the fact that I did not have the quality bags I have today. I went out, I invested in the bags, I started using the bags in terms of, I always used the bags, but I didn't always carry them up to the door. I didn't always make it clear to the customer that I was using the bags. So make sure you carry that bag up to every single house you go to. There's always going to be a Ring doorbell cam. Well, at least 90% of the houses I go to. Also, you can, if it's a face-to-face drop-off, make sure you're bringing it. The customer doesn't want to see you breathing on their food, stumbling up their walkway, handing them a bag with grease hanging out of it and a drink that's got drink mess all over it. They don't want to see that. They want to see you taking care of their food, and they will reward you with solid ratings. And then if you run into any problems with anything like that, it gives you the opportunity to also give a call to support and take care of it, which we'll get to. That'll be tip number 4. But anyways, make sure you have quality bags, and make sure you use them. Tip number 4, utilize support. Okay, support is something you should utilize. Many drivers don't utilize support enough. Anytime something happens that's irregular, call in before the customer calls in. Report it before the customer does. You drop a cup at if you accidentally drop a cup at the customer's house, I've done that before. Call support. If there's something irregular, call support. If you believe something could be happening, if the customer was upset or unhappy about something, or something, anything happens that's outside of the norm, make the report yourself. And what happens with that is you will get ratings protection. And when you get ratings protection, you will protect your ratings. And that is very, very important, because you got to maintain your ratings on every app. With Grubhub, you don't get to see your ratings, but every app besides Grubhub, your ratings matter in some way, shape, or form. And it does affect the orders that you get, much more so than AR does, I believe, in my opinion. 5, make sure you pay attention to completion rate. All right, completion rate right now, 80% on DoorDash. I believe on Uber it's 85%. Instacart it's 85%. Look, make sure, yes, you can use and you can cancel orders. However, make sure you do it only when necessary. My completion rate sits at 97%. If you're selecting decent orders, you shouldn't be canceling orders very frequently. If you're taking orders and you're canceling them, then that's when you need to go back to number 2, where I told you to collect data and start looking at the restaurants you're doing business, start looking at what's going on, and start trying to assess what you need to do differently, because you're making the wrong decisions. You're going to find that a lot more problems happen as the amount of your orders go down. So just keep that in mind, because those are the orders normally that are going to have more issues. That you're going to get wait times, or you're not getting compensated enough, or you're sitting there. Because if you get a well-paid order, $18, $15, $20 order, you're not going to mind standing there waiting. But if you're sitting there with a $5 order and you've got a 20-minute wait, you're going to feel a lot differently about it. So make sure you pay attention to the quality of orders that you're accepting. Make sure you know what amounts you need to do in your market that are going to allow you to keep your completion rate high enough that you're not feeling like you need to cancel out of orders too much. But it is something you can do up to a certain amount. But remember, it is a deactivatable offense if you let your completion rate drop. Right now it's 80. Rumor is it'll be 90% on DoorDash. So guys, if you're new Dashers, those are 5 tips that I'm telling you right now. Follow those tips. You will make some money. You will not get into trouble. Those are things I wish I knew, but those are things I've developed and learned over the last 2 years. So if you found this helpful, maybe even if you're doing this now, it's a new perspective of some of these areas, so you might even have got something out of it. But if you feel like this is something that you think people should hear about, if you feel like this is something that a new Dasher that you know of would get help from it, share this, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that like button and share it. And I always say share it with at least one person. And if I get 100 views and you share it with 100 people, we're doubling it. and 100 people that don't know about this channel, we can get it there and get this information out to help people out and get it. That's what this is about. That's what we're all about here. So guys, thank you for watching. As always, stay safe, stay profitable, and Dad Dash will talk.